Welcome everyone to our weekly brew at Redefining Success with Emma and Iona. Welcome, Iona.
Welcome, Emma. Hello, everyone. So this is a space where we sit down with each other every week and with you, and we share our journey that we're on to unlock our creativity and to grow and develop a soul-led business. So, Emma, let's start with what's brewing. What's brewing for you this week?
So, what's brewing for me this week is all about money and the infiniteness of money. And I'm reading a book at the moment about this, and it got me thinking that if we are in an eternal, infinite universe, which, as we know, we don't know how infinite, we don't know the boundaries of that. There might not be any. It might be eternal, infinite, all loving, all whatever, and that we're all part of that. So that means the energy of money is that as well, and ever expanding, because the universe we know is always expanding. That means the energy of money is always expanding, which means, why is anybody poor? Why are we all worried about scarcity and lack of money when, in the theoretical perspective, it could just be raining money continuously and we all have enough. So that's what's brewing with me, is this concept of the eternal, expanding energy of money and finance, and accessing that, how we access that. What are the portals? Why are most people, including ourselves, we've definitely got money blocks, had money blocks. How do we become that eternal money space within us? Yeah.
I love that. Thanks, Emma. And I think that's the root of, or part of it, why we on this journey. I know that both of us have done so many years of deep introspection, deep transformational work. And for me, it's been to hone who I am on the inside. And I made that decision in 2010, a very clear decision to turn away from corporate life, to go on that inward journey, because I wanted to be the change in the world. I wanted to bring through the power of who I am, so that I could hold that power within my body and be the light, be the change, rather than trying to effect it on the outside through my thinking mind, which just didn't have the power to do what I wanted to do in the world. So so going on this journey to access who we are on the inside, to bring through that power. And then for me, this is an extension of that. What we're doing, it's like to say, okay, we've got all this richness on the inside, we're full on the inside, but now it's about bringing it out. It's about externalizing it into the material world. And that has been part of this process that we're on, which is unlocking abundance, unlocking our creativity, unlocking who we are, so that we can bring our gifts.
Yeah, I think you're right. We are reprogramming with those old neurological connections that are from that poverty mindset of culture and everything. You know, it's not just an individual thing, is it? It's everything we've been brought up in. They have to kind of fade away so that these new connections can be made, and it is a brain chemistry thing, because we're rewiring to, even though we can't understand the expansiveness and the infiniteness of the universe, we are that anyway. And so we're accessing those parts that can understand it enough to let abundance flow. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
So beautiful.
it's really massive, isn't it? I mean, I had the same as you. I always thought I know I've had this really strong feeling that I'm here to do something big, and then because my mothering was so intense, I thought, well, maybe it was to do with mothering and death, and bringing up, having extreme mothering experiences. Maybe that is the big thing I'm doing. But always there's something. I'm sure there was something else. I'm sure there's something else. I don't, and I remember saying to Mark, I'm sure I'm here to do something big, and I just don't know what it is. I can't find it.
Yeah.
It's not tangible, but it hadn't come into being,
No.
hadn't been manifesting at those points.
Yeah. I didn't think I'd have to wait till 52 to
No,
do
I didn't
it.
either.
But isn't it interesting that it happens to be around the economy and
Yes.
around abundance and bringing abundance? I just, even, it's like taking me back to my university days and why I studied a master's in economics, trying to figure out unemployment and
Mm,
never finding the answers in that field. And yet here we are in a whole new cycle of consciousness that's available to the collective, and suddenly it's become available, and
yeah.
it's not in trying to figure out the economy through economics or solving unemployment. It's this whole massive shift in
Yeah.
unlocking our brain structure and rewiring how our neurology as human beings so that we can access, as you say, a whole more expansive brain network,
That's
which
right.
is our, it's like mind blowing, because it
It
is mind
is.
blowing. And it's
Yeah.
it's it's funny because AI has come online a lot this year, and
Yeah.
that feels to me like a whole um, uh, uh, access to a super brain in
Mm,
a technology field.
mm,
But what's paralleled with that, because the material world always mirrors the energetic world, and in the energetic world, what's possible is accessing our own super brains.
mm,
It's like those Russian dolls expanding to the next level of our brains being able to link in to the wiring of the universal system of knowing we're abundant, knowing that there's infinite veins connecting us, or neurons connecting us into that universal matrix that is bringing creativity, that is feeding us whatever we want, whatever we
mm.
draw on in terms of creative ideas. And that brings in this gold right into our solar plexus, that we can begin to spin, to stir that porridge pot, and then to let that explode out of us in
Yeah.
that we bring to the world, and in this abundance that's here.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And it's interesting because I did psychology for a similar reason that you did economics. I did that to help kids come out of their whatever situations they're in and have really good lives. So I did child psychology so that I could literally do that, support kids who are in difficult situations so that they can live full, happy, abundant lives. And so a lot of the stuff I studied was patterns, you know, cultural patterns, individual patterns, family patterns, you name it. And now I'm, in a way, although we're all hooked into those in some way, that's just part of the big illusion. And so it's very similar to you, but yours was economics, mine was psychology, and that the illusion of all that, that we're that actually the truth is we're abundant, and poverty is and difficult circumstances are basically part of this structure that has been created for us by who knows
Mm.
who did that whenever, over millennia probably. And now we're in these tight containers of this patterning and structures, and it is time for that to come down and for the truth to come through so that we can flow, we can give, we can receive, and understand that all of it is an illusion, really.
Yeah.
All of the structure is an illusion. It's
And
nothing to do with the truth of who we are.
and we keep getting this image of death and rebirth
Mm,
at this moment in time, which is very much about that, isn't it? It's
yeah.
like there's an ending of an old way of thinking, an old neurological wiring that no longer serves us, that's holding us back. We no longer need to believe in it. We no longer need to be
Yeah.
believing that suffering is necessary to be on this planet, to be living as a human. It
Mm,
doesn't need to look like suffering and war.
no,
It
it
can
doesn't.
look like we are infinite, abundant, creative beings that
Mm,
can tap into the wiring of this infinite universe that can pull into our creative centers the forces, the energy, the inspiration to grow into something so much bigger than we are.
Yeah.
Does it take strong intention and will? Absolutely.
It does. Yeah.
Does
You
it take
can't.
showing up consistently to tell
Yeah.
the universe, this is what I want and I'm not backing down?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah, you
it's,
have to take action. You can't just sit on your laurels and expect it to happen because we're
yeah,
changing, not just, it isn't just like one piece of action, we're changing the whole makeup of the brain. That's what's going on.
yeah,
The brain is shifting. It wants to understand new things, which actually are innate to us, but it's been so shut down for so many millennia that it's the sparks are beginning to fire, and it needs to make those connections now because it wants something more. It wants the universal connections.
mm. I got this image while you were talking of Forrest Gump in the movie
Did you?
with his calipers on his legs, and that moment where she says, "Run, Forrest, run," and
Oh
he
yeah.
runs, and he doesn't believe he could run because he's got these calipers and he can't walk. But she says, "Run," and in that moment, he runs. And as he's running, he realizes, hey, I can run. And he runs faster and faster, and the calipers fall off. And then he knows he can run, and he runs around the whole world and becomes famous. He doesn't know why he's running, but he's running because he can run. And
Wow.
it's that illusion falling away that we
Yeah.
believe that we are something that we just aren't anymore. It's
Mm.
outdated, it's old,
It
it's
is.
not who we are. And
No.
those calipers need to fall off, and we
Yeah.
need to know that we can run into the wind, and in that running is our freedom. We're running into our own truth, into our own heart, into our own expansion, into more love for each other, more abundance, and to know that this is the new earth. This is the new
Yeah.
earth. We're running into the arms of the new earth.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. And I love that you were talking about gold earlier because the gold in alchemy and alchemical practice is the gold within. There's this whole idea that alchemists turned lead into gold, like literally they did. Who knows if they did or not? But the real alchemy is turning that the lead weight within into your gold within, and that is part of showing up. It's letting go of these old patterns. It's really being prepared to go deep in whatever method people use, whether it's meditation or journaling, whatever, but to transform the self from within, and then that becomes your gold, and then that flows out to the world. It
Yes.
becomes the gift to the world.
Mhm. And I think that's the key, is that the
Yeah,
gold is within us.
exactly.
The
Yeah,
gold is within us when we know that we are the gold, we are the gift, we are the offering.
yeah,
When we
that's it.
just believe it, when
Yeah,
we just believe it and go on that journey into our joy to unlock our gold within, to unlock our creativity. And how do we do that? We don't know. We don't know. We have to make friends with the unknown.
we
We have
do.
to be in the unknown. We have to
Yeah,
be in our joy and wait for that moment when our inner child picks up a paintbrush and paints. And
yeah,
we see, oh, look, it looks like this.
yeah.
Emma, you and I had no idea that we would be here talking about economy, talking about wealth,
Yeah,
talking about
I know.
creating a business and money. We have been on a deeply spiritual journey. We have been mothers tending and holding children and going in within on a deeply spiritual journey for as long as we've known each other, which is coming up
Yeah,
to 15 years
yeah,
now. So yeah,
yeah.
it's a process.
It is. Yeah, a huge one, and I think can happen quicker now for people. I think things are quickening up, and then also with, with us doing this and other people doing their stuff and bringing their gifts, the methods and the ways of enabling people to connect with themselves and do these journeys are quicker. We're not saying that life doesn't happen and bring in its challenges. Of course it does, but there are. I think I think it's the availability for things to be processed and to happen quicker is here now, which wasn't maybe when we started out on the journey. I mean, I know when I started out on this journey many years ago, the resources were really tiny. There was hardly anything there to support kind of inner work. I really had to seek it out. And then it was like mind blowing when I did it. It was like, wow, this is amazing. But now there is a lot of things people can access so that we can more quickly find, go deep, find ourselves, find the gold within, which is great. It's really, really good.
And I'd say the way that you and I've been working with constriction and restriction is just being with it. So, okay,
Yeah,
things aren't working out today. Things aren't working out right now. This is difficult. We're pushing against something. Let's just pause. To not force constriction, but to know, hey, this is just life saying, hold back,
yeah,
breathe, create space, slow down.
yeah,
Maybe there's something here that I'm not seeing, and life's wanting to show me, you're not seeing this.
exactly.
This is where I want you to go. So it's like just using constriction as part of life's language that's trying to guide us, that is
Yeah,
guiding us when we tune in and slow down and listen to that.
yeah, it is. It's not being afraid or being open in the other way around to to have that constriction and to for it to be a bit scary because it can be scary. But if
Yeah,
it's yeah, if the space is made, there's room for a breath, there's room to breathe, and then that makes way for the new creative spark to come in.
yeah. I think the fear comes from the feeling that I'm going to be stuck forever, or this isn't
Yeah,
ever going to move. But
yeah,
that's another lie.
that is a lie, yeah, because
Because by
everything's in constant motion.
yeah, and I find that by slowing down, it's when the gifts can come in, and I
Yeah,
can find my alignment. And
yeah,
actually, it's because of the misalignment or something that I'm not seeing that
yeah,
restrictions there. It's a gift.
it is.
So on that note,
Yeah, on that note,
we'll we'll say goodbye.
we'll say goodbye for now and we'll see you next
See you
time.
next time. So much
So
love.
much love.